Uau, que forte essa frase da Effie. Contratamos adultos e quando eles entram, a gente começa a não tratar eles mais como adultos quando é a hora de aprender. Eu tenho trabalhado com a Effie durante, eu acho que ela já está na Degree há mais de 2 anos, uma mega parceira nossa. Antes da Degree, a Effie, na verdade, ela foi cliente, ela foi VP global de Digital Learning no City. E foi ela que deu aquela empurrada forte aí para realmente começar a trazer uma cultura de aprendizagem e trouxe a Degree como parceiro para habilitar essa cultura de aprendizagem. E hoje, na fala que a gente vai ter com a Effie, é realmente para entender um pouco também como que a tecnologia pode ser esse seu braço, habilitando tudo que a gente vem conversando hoje aqui. Então, vou chamar a Effie para compartilhar aqui o palco comigo. E aí, Effie, tudo bem? How are you? I'm speaking Portuguese now with you, girl. Because that's how we roll,
Hey,
right?
exactly. Hi, Deb. I sort of understood what you probably introduced me as, but no, we're good. We're good.
Yeah.
Good to be here.
Yes, that's normally how we go. We start with Spanish,
Exactly.
Portuguese, and English. So yes, it's been a pleasure to have you here. I really wish you were here in person because we planned so many times to be in person in Brazil, but it didn't work.
Same here. Same here. One day, well, I'm sort of close by. I'm based out of Miami, Florida. So sooner than later, we'll be able to come in and be present with you live in those events, Deb.
Yes, there we go. Okay, we are super excited to hear what you have to share with us today. You are our last presentation, so you're taking us home after your presentation, which is awesome. So I want to give you the mic, and you can just start.
Thank you very, very much, Deb. Well, talk about no pressure. I am the person after Aaron, who I'm a big fan of, by the way. And if you haven't read already his book, please do. I looked at that a year ago, I should say, and it definitely shifted a lot of thinking that I had in the space myself as I started working with clients. And now, of course, I'm finding out that I'm between you and your lunch break, or perhaps your lunch beverage. So I will do my best to keep you entertained while we do that. So with that, again, as Debbie said, I am Effie Rangou. I am the VP of Advisory Services here at Degreed. And Degreed is a platform that helps individuals develop their skills and activate a lifelong learning mindset while giving organizations dynamic skills intelligence to align the workforce to fast-changing business needs. In my role at Degreed, I work with our most progressive clients on setting and executing a skills-driven learning and career mobility strategy. And as I mentioned, I'm currently based in Miami, even though I am originally from Cyprus, from Chypre. Again, I'd like to thank our conference organizers today for putting this programming together on my most favorite topic: how do we reset our workplace culture to be less controlling and much more empowering for individuals to reach their potential and perform at their best. I used to work in financial services in the US and the UK, and I found myself constantly asking these questions and looking for the tools that would help both the company manage risk and yet allow employees to navigate what they need in the most optimal format for them. So why do we need to rethink organizational design and controls? And why is it that only 1 in 3 companies today successfully evolve in the face of disruption? What is it that separates the ones who make it through? How are our business leaders, your business leaders, taking on change or disruption? And what about our HR and talent learning leaders? You'll find that we ask a lot of whys at Degreed. We know and we keep hearing that the pace of change we're experiencing today is the slowest we will ever experience in our future. Let's just pause and think about that for a few seconds. Highly structured and hierarchical control operating systems, we heard Aaron speak to that a little bit earlier, in companies are by design inflexible and rigid. And we talk a lot about our ability to become more agile, to be able to adjust quickly in the face of change. This last year has actually been very eye-opening. We had no other option but to adapt, and we did. The global pandemic is the prime example of how our realities shifted overnight. We had to create new habits. We had to adapt to a new way of working virtually, and we had to develop new skills very, very quickly. Millions of people were displaced with no jobs in some sectors, while we had a huge demand for workers with different skills at the same time. And my favorite reskilling story, I would say, from this last year, it's almost exactly 12 months or a little bit more, I would say, is the one from Sweden, Scandinavian Airlines. So when they were faced with travel being completely stopped, halted, they actually took concerted efforts, intentional efforts to retrain their airline staff and redeployed them to hospitals as nursing assistants. So if we shift this to our reality in talent and learning and development, L&D, companies had no option but to move to digital learning channels at scale and faster, while there was no option to deliver traditional and event-based classroom learning. And we quickly learned new skills in L&D. We are now designing and delivering learning experiences in formats we were kind of very slow in adopting in the last decade because we felt that we could afford to move slower and we didn't have to. We had other options. And the whole world, from our children to our grandparents, learned how to use Zoom for work, for teaching, for social and family purposes. And thankfully, there's a huge pool of tools and content to help us reach our learners today, no matter what. But we still have a problem, I feel, in an unanswered question. Why don't we have the skills we need? We have infinite learning opportunities and so many sophisticated technologies out there. And anyone can now learn anything they need anytime they want to. And yet most people still, they don't have the skills that they need to stay relevant throughout their careers. This isn't just a problem for workers. It is actually a serious C-level business issue. It is a risk. And all of this volatility has real costs, not just to jobs and careers. It can affect our employer brands. We're looking at lost revenues. We're looking at lower profit margins and huge restructuring changes. And the more rigid the operating system is, the greater these risks and costs are. There are expensive and dangerous lessons that we're learning, and these are happening all the time, even to the most well-run companies with the most sophisticated talent systems. And on top of this, we know that our workers, and we feel it ourselves, we're feeling fatigued now more than ever, and we're struggling to make the time to learn something new. Time is so precious, especially nowadays, and yet we are able to manage our time and make space for the things that matter most, the things that we gain value and enjoyment from. And again, we find ourselves asking, why does that not apply to learning? How do we fix this? How do we generate excitement and value, purpose, so that our workforce can find a reason to make the time? We could argue there are a lot of micro reasons. There's the learning experience that needs to be more modern. We need to move from courses to resources to support just-in-time needs to access information. We need to meet people where they are in their habits. We need better tools to scale in a cost-effective manner. I'm hoping you're all nodding as I list this, even though I can't see you. And I bet if I asked how many of you are currently on a journey to digitize learning, I am sure most have already started. And in the highest order, however, we are missing the value, the purpose behind learning. And I strongly believe that purpose is the ability to build and constantly transact and refresh on your skills portfolio. Skills are set to become this new common language of expertise, and we all develop and acquire knowledge in different ways. There's no one size that fits all. And this is where we come back to rethinking how much control we set for people to find their development journeys. It's so necessary to open up access to a wide range of resources and experiences that we're all used to seeking anyway in our everyday work life. In a joint research we ran with Harvard Business School 2 years ago, people told us how they learn in relation to the time spent in those activities. Reading an article or listening to a podcast may be a good starting point, but then being able to practice and find opportunities for experiential learning is what creates that depth in capability and skills. This is the reason you're all here today. You're listening to a wide range of topics from experts who have lived experiences and can expose you to many ideas that you can then take back to implement at your companies or have deeper discussion with your peers or your network who's already present here. I often hear concerns when we go down this path Like, what if people waste their time learning about things that are not important to our company and business strategy? And, what if we give them all this freedom to, and the time to go learn new skills so that they can leave us and go to our competition? And the response is, what if we didn't teach them those new skills? Isn't it worse to have a stale and unproductive workforce? And most of us are new to learning how to learn and be always learning new things. A recent client, an insurance company, actually, not a modern tech company, mentioned to me that they actually sponsor and encourage people to learn anything they want. Underwater basket weaving? Sure. Cooking, knitting? Sure. It's all for a game. Why? Because this is helping to build the muscle, the behavior of always learning that can then help them accelerate how they apply those behaviors back at work. So creating an open digital ecosystem is essential for people to feel that they are free to own their development. We move beyond the one system, operating or otherwise, that controls and manages learning to an ecosystem of connected tools that gives us the knowledge, the insights, and the ability to find ways to apply what we learned. Now, I've worked with talent and learning technologies throughout my career, and we all know, and I'm not sitting here to promise that technology is the quick fix to every solution. But we need to start the conversation. We need to speak a different language and set a different tone of openness, and then adopt the tools that are necessary enablers to make that happen quickly and efficiently. New technologies will give us a wealth of data, skills intelligence. And are we ready to take action on those today? We have to look at our processes, and we have to recognize that as new skills are emerging and new practices are evolving, we just need to find better ways to connect learning to skills and skills to opportunities. As we go through rapid transformation, we require an entirely new set of skills, and skills that many workers say they're struggling to acquire, and competencies in areas such as cloud computing and communication, data analytics, cybersecurity, artificial intelligence. These are all in demand now, will probably continue to be vital in the short and mid, perhaps even long term. In a recent study by McKinsey, more than half of the workers surveyed, more than half, also said that updating workforce skills should be a shared responsibility between the employer and the employee. How important and different is that from the world that we've come from in organizational design? It is crucial that companies devise and implement comprehensive reskilling programs throughout their organization, and that workers buy into that initiative and embrace how important learning new skills is to stay relevant in the labor market. So creating an open, So I hope you can see this. I'm having some connection issues. Okay, we're good. I love this quote from Unilever. I think of Unilever as one of the most progressive organizations in the space. Back in 2018, they recognized how important it is to empower individuals to own their careers. Since then, they have put programs and new technologies in place to make that happen. And today, they are able to understand the skills that already exist in their organization, the in-demand skills they need to further develop, and are starting to create meaningful and relevant career pathways to retain and retrain their employees. And this is where I see our function a little bit more like urban architects and less like the company police force. Aaron spoke earlier to that example with the traffic lights and the roundabout format. I'll take a little bit of a similar yet different route. Like, think about the parks that are planted in our communities, in our cities. We're given an entry and an exit point and paths to explore the park. Each path will probably lead to a different experience and a different outcome. Some are short routes and others are long routes around the park. We're free to go and roam and explore and navigate based on why we're there, who we're there with, and how much time we have. You could be having a picnic with your family, practice for a 5K race that's coming up, walk your dog, or play a game with your friends. And all of that, while you have the freedom to operate, there are written and unwritten rules and constraints to protect you and others in that same park. You can't just take your dog off the leash unless they're in the dog park. You can't jump from tree to tree because branches may break and you may hurt yourself. So the same applies to learning. Let's give people easy entry and exit points with some guidance and the constraints that make sense, let them find what they need and what they need it for and what they care the most at the time that they're looking. And this is not just about creating a better learning experience. It's about helping our industries be more responsive to change. These are companies that you can see who even pre-COVID set a path to modernize and democratize learning practices, and that we're already starting to see the results and benefits of that. And during COVID, the ability to act fast and prove results quickly became even more essential. So these companies were already able to adapt because they had set that tone of less control and more purpose-driven learning that then helped individuals get redeployed to meet that need that the business had in that moment in time. So I know we touched on a lot in this brief time that we had together, but if there are 4 things that I would like to leave you with today, these are it. Rethink the role we play in our companies as facilitators and not command center controllers. Put the learner in the driver's seat and give them guidance and coaching. Take advantage of the wealth of data and dynamic intelligence to then find solutions or dig deeper into the challenges you're facing with a higher level of confidence than you've ever had before. You no longer have a blindfold on what your company needs and what your people need. You can take educated forward steps. Make learning matter. Very important. Give it meaning. It's not about lifelong learning, but instead about lifelong employability. We don't know what jobs are needed in 10 years from now, but we know we'll need to learn fast, unlearn and relearn, and show the evidence on how we build our knowledge and expertise. And then finally, but most importantly, think about how you can unlock opportunity without controlling how it's surfaced. Opportunity to apply new skills on projects, opportunities to take a leap of faith with a stretch assignment, to test out a new career path, opportunity to move to a new role, up or across, that may provide greater fulfillment and purpose based on that moment in time in your professional life journey. So with that, I also wanted to mention our degreed CLO session tomorrow, who's going to go a little bit deeper into this topic, and she will be able to share practical and proven steps to becoming a skills-driven organization. So let's make learning matter, my friends, by connecting learning to skills and skills to opportunity. So, obrigada, and thank you for your time. And I hope this was valuable and look forward to hearing your feedback or any questions you may have. Let's continue the conversation here, but also offline. And thanks again for the organizers and Deb for this fantastic event and opportunity today.
Amazing work, Effie. Thank you so much. And among all the speakers, you're the one that had the best pronunciation for obrigada. I have to say that. You rocked, man. Awesome. Is Effie still with us? Okay, she's still with us. For a minute, your image disappeared, so I was not sure. Effie, before you go, we just have one question that we want to ask you. So we are talking, you gave us so many good tips, but I want to know one step that everyone that is connected today can take today to start bringing learning culture at work. One step.
Deborah, I'm sorry, the connection broke out. Can you repeat the question?
Yes, I'll repeat. So we want to know what is the one step that we all can take today to enable learning culture at work. A doable step.
I would say the first step is to reset the way that you think and execute learning today, end to end. Look at the practices that you have in place, the tools and the technologies that are in place, and the capabilities that you have. It is a multi-pronged step. There's 3 aspects to it, but it's a single step. Take that step back, assess what you have, and leapfrog into where you need to be. Don't try to play catch up.
I love that. I really do. Thank you so much, Effie. I hope you have a great day. Thank you for being with us. And I hope I will see you soon at some point, too, in person. Hopefully. We wish that for everyone that is speaking.
Same here.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you all.
Muito bom.
Bye.
Muito bom ter a Effie aqui com a gente. Ela é fenomenal. E, pessoal, também pode começar a seguir elas nas redes. Se vocês tiverem mais perguntas, também manda para ela no LinkedIn. Ela sempre responde.